Hello everyone, my name is Živa Kleindienst and together with Tadej Vindiš, Peter Tomaž Dobrila and Aleksandra Kostić, I am one of the curators of the International Festival of Arts, Technology and Science, KIBLIX2020, entitled Virtual Worlds Now. I welcome you in behalf of KIBLA, who has been organizing this festival since 2002. With the new long-term focus of KIBLA on XR technologies and art in the scope of RUC, Network of Art and Cultural Research Centers, and considering that 2020 has been probably the most virtual year we have lived so far, the key question we are asking for this year's KIBLIX is what are the virtual worlds now? Today we continue with our second panel discussion, and if you have missed our first panel on the topic of digital intimacy, moderated by Gillian Boddington, you can watch it on our webpage kiblix.org or social media. Today's panel, entitled How to Overcome Time of Physical Distance with XR Technologies, will focus on XR industry, community, education, professional development, and virtualization of everyday life, with special focus on COVID-19 global condition. Here, I would like to welcome our guests and our moderator, Žiga Pavlović. Žiga Pavlović is a creative lead of KIBLA 2 Lab. He's a programmer, interaction designer, maker, and promoter of new technologies. Thank you to all of our guests for being here with us today. For Q&A, you can use the chat on the right side of your screen, where you can post comments and questions, which will be read by the moderator on your behalf. Žiga, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Živa. Welcome, everyone, to today's panel. Where we will be talking about very current situation we have right now because of the COVID-19 quarantines. There is a lot of physical distance, which is a term I like to use instead of social distance, because this is something that we kind of started normally using, but is actually, in my opinion, a wrong term, because it's not really about social distance. We do have to be physically apart, but we should think about more how to bring back social closeness. It can be done through virtual social media, virtual worlds, internet, but sometimes camera, text, or voice is not enough. So today we will be discussing how to bring back this kind of social interaction through XR technologies, which is a term that combines virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. Today, I welcome Erik Kapfer from Pattern City, Velenje, who is working more in the business area of XR technologies. And also Marko Tafnick, videographer, director, and Dr. Jože Guna, assistant professor at the University of Ljubljana, which will join us a little bit later. Welcome, Erik. Erik?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
So Erik is a conceptual lead and co-founder of Velenje Pattern City, which operates as a research and development department of Ljudska univerza Velenje, and at the same time, it's an ecosystem of education. Erik is a technology enthusiast who gained knowledge and experience for 5 years in Amsterdam, where he was involved in developing smart city and introducing new technologies. So at our panel discussion, he will give strategic aspect of implementing XR content in business processes, which is currently used for educational purposes and human resources. Go ahead, Erik.
Hi, everybody. My name is Erik Kapfer. As Žiga already told you, past 3 years, I actually work very intensively in this ecosystem that you see behind me. What you see behind me is actually 700 square meter open space that is used for a lot of different things. It's an ecosystem for inventing and actually testing new methodologies for education by using new technologies. Also, we provide interactive learning experiences for kids from primary school, for students, and also for groups from, let's say, development departments in different companies. and at the same time, this space also works as a central hub that connects all the stakeholders in the area, in the local and the regional area, let's say it's kind of a pushing knowledge transfer and exchange of knowledge between different stakeholders. So we're going to talk today about XR technologies in how do they transfer from education to business, let's say, scenarios. And we have quite a lot of, let's say, good experience regarding that. Because education provides a little bit more relaxed experimental environment. So what we develop here as a prototype, we can then use afterwards in, let's say, business scenarios. In past 2 years, or maybe better said, in past 3 school years, we have put around 25,000 kids for the first time in VR. So they had the first VR experience. And we also developed quite a lot of tools, educational tools, with augmented reality technology. So yeah, let's say it's very easy to implement in educational environment, but when you go into business environment, it has to be more standardized, it has to be more robust, and it needs a little bit more iterating, and let's say when it's ready to market, it takes a little bit longer time. So yeah, Pattern City actually is looking forward for the next year to start working with the Chamber for Economics of Slovenia on the protocols for choosing VR technologies and choosing the already made content for education. So we're going to create some sort of a protocol how teachers can actually approach that issue. I think that's a very important thing towards standardizing these procedures. Yeah, Žiga, maybe some questions?
Thank you, Eric. So specifically, you work with business clients, right? One of the is training and onboarding of new workers. But there is also a question. There is not only it's not always good to just transfer the experience into virtual reality. Do you think needs to be special attention put to designing the experience so that it matches the real world, or are there needs to be a different approach to it?
Yeah, exactly as you said. It's actually very important to design the experience according to real world scenarios, especially for business. Let's say if you have a possibility to work with a digital twin, let's say, then that means cyber world and real world are actually synchronized, and that gives the experience for workers actually almost real experience of what kind of machines they will work with, how you can collaborate with the machine, how you can actually track some data that comes out of the machine, or to collaborate with others. So let's say if you have some sort of a prototyping meeting in VR, let's say maybe with holodeck, NVIDIA, that none of us tried yet, but we are all looking forward to it. That's not that important. So that's one of the aspects where when you don't care if you find yourself on the surface of the moon and discuss what's the next part of this machine is going to look like. But when you have to train your workers on a specific scenario in the production line, then it's really important.
Yeah, thank you a lot, Eric.
Thank you.
We will now move to our next guest, Marko Tafnick, who is a videographer and director, working mostly in 360 video, and is also a manager of Multiversum. He's a founding member of XR Slovenia community and organized monthly meetups at XR Lab in Technology Park Ljubljana, which at the moment are not happening because of the situation we have, but we keep in touch through Facebook group, which is also called XR Slovenia. Go ahead, Marko.
Thank you, Žiga, for inviting me. First of all, I have to say that the next meetup will happen, and this year in late December. So yeah, I'm looking forward to meet all of you there. But yeah, first a few words about me. I'm actually, yes, as you said, film and TV director. But since 2016, I'm totally focused to XR, first through 360 videos, what was my entry level, let's say, because I was always looking for solutions, how to go out of the box to experience different levels of communication. If we agree that art is some sort of higher level to communicate between individuals. And a 360 video for me was that escape, and that gives freedom for the viewer to not just follow director's view, but to look whatever they want to see, let's say. In that field, let's say we started with a few projects on different fields. So from the art to tourism, education, so very different. I can even show a few of them. Because later we will talk maybe more. Right now, I can show you we are working on with Istok Kovac and dance company Enknap on the dance performance in 360. That's especially built for this 360 approach. So you are in the middle, in medias res of the performance, and that's, let's say, new approach how to give the audience option to enter in the essence on the stage between the actors, between the artists. Why this is important? Because now through this approach, we see that, yes, okay, I can leave this if you're showing that. So with this approach, now people can really socialize through XR. So they they have the option to come to the performance even if everything is closed. That's actually part of our intention. We will record the whole repertoire of their dance company, and then this will travel around the world with the package of 20 virtual headsets, because so the new audience will be built around headsets, not anymore sitting in the hall and watching on stage. So that's how 360 video is solving some these days problems. Another option, for example, is for virtual tourism. We did presentation of, this is actually also not only tourism, but heritage. This is an old boat which needs to be preserved and presented how they used to what was their function actually. It's a sailing boat, old sailing boat. And again, 360 video is giving good experience. How was it in that times? So it's another immersive level how to communicate with the audience. Or another example from the tourism is visiting some places that are not accessible right now. For example, Kobarit, one of the locations in Slovenia. Later we can talk why this is important worldwide, not only in COVID-19 restrictions times, but also later. So you can experience also something you never dare before, like flying with this. So on many levels, I will now stop this. On many levels, ordinary 360 video is useful to give people more impressive, more immersive experience. And then again, not only that, there are many solutions like, let me show it, like VR chat or Altspace VR, or actually we used here in this case hubs from Zilla to organize exhibitions that cannot be organized now in real life. And we did that today. It's a brand new exhibition with the opening ceremony and everything, actually on the real location right now in VR. But we've built this to give people the option to come and to talk with people, to interact, so to feel like they are on the real event. Later we can explain more about these opportunities, because I think they're really, really important. Maybe I missed this sharing. Yeah, I'm sorry. Because I think it's really important because it opens a totally new approach and totally new vision how people will socialize after COVID-19. So from my side, this is the first part. And then the second part about the XR community. We need the network of everyone who is producing content in Slovenia and abroad. So that's why we would like to connect everyone in Slovenia and abroad and make an archive of everything what is being produced right now to later access all these productions from everywhere. That's the ability of XR, so accessibility. But maybe we can talk about that later, because I think that's also a topic for all of us. So back to you, Giga.
Yes, that is exactly a topic that needs to be open, because we were also thinking about something maybe more not just related to XR, but in general in all new media creations and artists. But I also have a question for you, similar to Eric's, which is in general, right? When we are now moving these kind of experiences like theater maybe movies also, but concerts and exhibitions, when we are digitizing and moving to virtual reality or in general in XR. When I'm working as an interaction designer, it's always a question of because it's a new medium, right? It has different user experience than in real life, and you cannot really just copy. It's a first step because you have to try it to see what works or not first. So you copy, you basically digitize it and put it online. But then you quickly realize that the interaction people have online is not the same as in real life. So my question to you is, just quickly maybe share some experiences in terms of storytelling. Like, do you find, like, what was maybe one example that that happened with your experiences that made you think about designing specifically for XR?
Yeah, I think storytelling is the most important, let's say, lead into interaction everywhere, business-wise or creative-wise in art. That's why my position as a director is still the same. So I lead through the story, or the story is the lead, but we can give the power where we would like to what's our goal, where we would like to come. And so always when I work for clients or for in the art, I would like to give this experience to come from the A point to the B point. And in between, all the dramaturgy happens. So that's the experience. That's what's something that people need right now. So they have to, they would like to be moved, touched, because there are so many, let's say, impulses from everywhere. They need that focus, and if we can assure that they will give or get that traveling experience, that they will come on the higher level after this experience, then we are in the right mission, and that's my main goal, my main purpose.
Mm-hmm. So you basically, we can, if we give them a sense of that where they are present, for example, when you show this touristic 3D video, right? Because people feel present there, it's closer to the experience that they would have in real life. And I found it that it of course, in these times when we cannot travel, it doesn't replace exactly the experience, but it gives you a teaser. So I found it very interesting, even promotional material, because when I compare it to movies, they even make trailers for movies now which are very spoilerish, because they found out that people want to have a sense of kind of a security of knowing what to expect. So when you give them a 360 video, when they can look around and have the same thing. It's a very good promotional material, even after the COVID situation. Thank you a lot, Marko. Now we are moving to Dr. Jože Guna, who is an assistant professor at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering, University of Ljubljana. His research area focuses on internet and multimedia technologies, design thinking, VR, AR, MR, so XR technologies, including aspect of play and the stream of consciousness. He's a senior member of the General IEE organization and the General Secretary of Slovenian IEE section. He's also a founding member of Slovenian XR community and a technical manager of the first XR laboratory in the Technology Park Ljubljana. He will tell us more about academic approaches to XR, because you're also researching more into user experience. Go ahead, Jože.
Thank you, Žiga. Thank you for this kind introduction and a very nice good evening to everyone. But first, before I open this very interesting topic of XR technologies, I would kindly ask for the video to start our thinking.
Dad picked that name because it sounded like a superhero's alter ego, like Peter Parker or Bruce Banner. But he died when I was a kid, my mom too. And I ended up here, sitting here in my tiny corner of nowhere. There's nowhere left to go. Nowhere. Except the oasis. A whole virtual universe. People come to the oasis for all the things they can do. But they stay because of all the things they can be.
Can you feel this?
Yeah. It's the only.
So this video was obviously from Ready Player One, the movie, which shows some kind of future that may come to us or may not, just to stir our imagination. And in the next few minutes, I would like to open this very interesting topic and present what we do. So as said, I come from the Faculty of Electrical Engineering in Ljubljana. This is a short peek into our faculty, our so-called multimedia room, where we do also testing and user experience and also play with newest XR stuff. A short info about us. So we're really keen, and this is also one of my hobbies, researching interactions within VR and AR and also multimedia in general. So we do a lot of this interesting research. But shortly, what this is all about: XR stands for extended reality. I'm sure you know this, which focuses on the real environment in mixed reality as well as virtual environment in the virtual reality, and everything can be also combined through augmented reality and augmented virtuality. So all combinations are possible. This is really exciting field. Also exciting is this hype curve, and if we see it from 2017, the virtual reality is becoming a mature technology with augmented reality coming behind. But then in 2020, nowhere it seems this text doesn't seem to be anywhere. So this leaves a big question whether what will happen to it. But I'm quite optimistic that this tech may change our lives, and also especially in these times may hopefully bring us together. So, but without the technology itself is not that important. Important is content applications, and this is really where we should work with. And quality content and quality applications are the magnet that can provide good experience and also provide, let's say, benefits for the industry in terms of educational and industry-based educational simulations, which can really profit. And also interactivity and user experience is the key to VR, I think. So some key examples from medicine, well-being, education, work, and smart cities. Of course, communications can be well used with VR. And some examples, just brief cases to stir imagination. What we did, this is a rehabilitation project for the Socha, where we combined lip motion with VR glasses in order to provide some kind of better simulation for Parkinson's disease patients. This is a simulation for Lake Novartis. It's a digital twin. It's an industrial educational project where the new colleagues can train within the real environment and get to know it before they even enter the lab. Although it's very much stylized, they learn real processes which are used in the lab, and the feedback was really, really good. Also, more on the fun part, this is an augmented or mixed reality application with HoloLens for the sport radar, where you can, so to speak, drink beer with colleagues and also watch augmented football and bet and see additional info which could otherwise be inaccessible. So this has just some applications that can be done with this tech today. So this is really, really exciting. And also trends are important. And here we can see some statistics from Steam, and the usage of VR and AR headsets seem to be rising, but they're still, let's say, very much limited compared to mobile phones, where we have almost everyone has a mobile phone. XR headsets are more in the millions, but I'm quite optimistic here, and here lie many opportunities, I would say, for business and development, also research. And also trends, yes, more of everything, better resolution, better frame rate, new display tech, no wires, so this is important. And eye tracking is included, one for better experience and one for also for control of the avatar. And also VR and AR seems to be converging in a way, like we saw in the movie in Ready Player One, and we'll see what the future brings. Of course, interactions and haptics are still missing, so the idea of touching things is the next big thing, I think. And also social and multiplayer experiences are the thing to go. So not only solo experiences, but multiplayer and multi-social experiences are I think, the future. Web technologies can help here, so the users don't have to install any applications, but these applications can be simply accessed by a mobile or phone or VR device through a web browser. Nothing needs to be installed, and this is really, really helpful and easy to use. But still, again, content is the key here, I believe. There are still some challenges in the field. I like this quote where it says that VR is like the first phone. A small number of people are extremely excited about it, but its true power still hasn't been created. I completely agree with this, but still challenges. So there are well-being medical effects still unknown of prolonged use, which is an interesting research field. Social effects like hikikomori, Japanese effect, where it's not where young people tend to stay away for socializing and they keep close in their rooms, and it's not a really good thing. But also new UX design challenges are here, new guidelines are needed, so a lot of research is needed here. VR sickness seems silly, but it's really a problem where normal people can get sick, and they can get really, really sick, and this is one of the key, I think, research areas at the moment, which I'm also very much interested in. And then again, content and applications are the key here. Maybe, yeah, do we actually need this? Yes, I hope so. I really hope so. Maybe just for the last part, a few things, what we do. I'm really keen on research within VR, and there is a lot of research which we do about VR sickness interactions. Here is a small sneak peek into this area, but what the results show is that not only so headsets, but also content very much influences the sickness. So put it blindly, if you put your people or your users in a really relaxing environment, maybe on a beach, or maybe in some concert hall where they're stationary, they would not feel sick. But if you put them in the first person on a roller coaster, they will get sick for sure. So this is what we found out. And so content does matter, but not only content, also technology. So better displays, less latency, when using this, especially VR headsets, these key factors are really important for alleviating sickness effects. And here are two examples. On the left side, we measured physical response in terms of heart rate and electrodermal conductivity when the users were exposed to a relaxing beach scene. On the right, picture, it's the same user with the same headset, but only he was on a roller coaster. Now you can see the result is much more exciting. And I would say that sickness is one of the key challenges at the moment, but not the only one. Another challenge I would like to talk about is so-called Uncanny Valley, where we get anxious, where the environment and the presentation gets real. It's not quite real enough, but it gets real. And here's an example of famous professor Hiroshi Ishiguro from Japan, who made his copy. We obviously see that it's not completely human, but it's creepy in a way. So I think this effect is also apparent now within latest VR environments and latest game engines, which provide almost realistic experience, but not quite so. For example, this picture. Yeah, what the future brings, I don't know. Maybe some kind, maybe in a way more of a holodeck, or maybe more in a way of the Matrix. At the moment, I think we are more on the holodeck side, but with the latest research into implants, maybe we'll get also into the Matrix side. Last but not least, these technologies, I think, should serve us as humans and, let's say, make our lives easier and not, let's say, alienate us. This is a very famous picture from Facebook conference where this audience would love to, I think, shake hands with Mark, but they couldn't see him because they were so enthralled into their VR devices. So this is one of the perils which should be quite aware of. I think I was within time. Yeah, Žiga?
Yes, perfect.
Yes,
Thank
So,
thank you, Jože.
Just a food for thought for today's panel.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
that was
it.
That was
Yeah.
precision. Okay. Yeah, we are actually way in front of time, so we will have more time later on for the Q&A section. I have a question for you too, more in terms of you research specifically kind of how to avoid motion sickness, which was always at the beginning it was more a technical problem because of the latency of moving around the picture. It was very nauseating. But nowadays it seems that the technical, the resolution, the latency of picture is actually very good. But there are still maybe more traps on the content, of the designing of the experience. Can you share maybe some tips on designing when designing experiences? What kind of user experience traps we have to avoid?
Yes, that's a very good question. Actually, we do a lot of research on this topic. Specifically, we have, I know we have two doctoral students on this topic. And yeah, I would agree that the headsets are getting better. They're not perfect yet, but they're getting better. And from technical aspects, the latency is one of the key factors which can influence sickness. But I think this will be fixed in the near future. The harder part is the content itself and the presentation of the interface. And if I share some key findings, maybe so-called rest frames can alleviate this. Under this mysterious world, you can picture, if you're in a cockpit flying a plane in a simulation, the cockpit itself does not move relative to you and can serve as a rest frame, as a fixed point where you can, let's say, think or maybe relax or maybe trick your brain that you are still in a sensible environment, and thus you can reduce sickness. So I think rest frames are one of the key, let's say, content-wise tricks that you can use to avoid this problem.
I guess this is specifically when you're moving fast, like for example in a car or a spaceship moving through space.
Yes, you would be surprised. So for slow moving, but really slow moving, stationary or very, very slow walking and rotating, sickness is not so pronounced. But when you're moving normally or when you're running in the simulation, but in the real environment, you're standing or sitting still, your brain feels this. So and there is a discrepancy between what you see and what you feel, and the effect is usually sickness, and can be really, really pronounced in a way that users can actually throw up. And in not so small numbers, in our, let's say, research, we found out that the number or the part of such users in the general population is about 20%, which is not, which is a lot, I think.
But this is limited to fast experiences.
It's limited to fast experience, but also in some users which are prone to sickness can also happen in slow experience, even stationary experience.
Yeah, I actually I have to mention my mother, which I showed her the headset, and we quickly found out that she's very sensitive.
Yes, yes, I can imagine.
Very sensitive. No, I mean even so that she has trouble watching movies in a theater, because
Yes.
nowadays they have very fast cuts, very fast action, shaky camera, and that is just it's probably something that she cannot deal with. So I imagine she's not the target audience for the VR.
Maybe for some selected experiences, it would be okay.
Yeah, I hope so. This is my challenge to make an experience for her that she can manage.
Great.
Thank you a lot, Jože.
Thank you.
Before I go to also my own presentation, what we do in KIBLA2 Lab, I would also I'd like to ask all of the viewers if you have any questions for our panelists to write them down into the chat, so we can so I can ask them later in the Q&A section to our guests. So let me switch to my own presentation, which is okay. Okay, so I am a creative lead of KIBLA2 Lab, which is part of the network of centers for research in arts and culture, called RUC, which is also so sister labs are also DDT Lab in Terbolia and PINA Lab in Koper. What specifically we do in KIBLA2 Lab is digitization and photogrammetry. So we create 3D models from actual objects or buildings, specifically to work for preservation of cultural heritage, especially in cases where buildings are not maintained, are about to collapse, and so we save them a little bit in a way to digitize them. And then later we also so we use a laser scanner, which we have in the lab, so we can quickly scan the area and create a lot of data, which we can then later create into a 3D model to showcase in VR and AR. And specifically for the times for quarantine, a lot of cultural centers, also our own, had to close down basically for the public. But we still do exhibitions. We still want to showcase. We don't want basically all the events to shut down. So we had to adapt, and this is something that kind of goes into our plan. What we do is a lot similar what Marko Tafnick was also working, which is creating digital galleries, digital spaces for people to view virtual exhibitions. And this is something that is also very important, and why I kind of organized this panel is a discussion of how we interact with this new medium. When we come to a gallery or a concert, we go there to experience the place, experience the positioning of the artworks. We have time. There is quietness or music playing sometimes. So it's a whole experience of also a place, but not only a place. It is also a social experience. We can interact with other people, going there together. And it used to be that we also go there on the dates. Maybe today it's a different approach because it's a lot of virtual thing and we go for coffees. But sometimes museum is still a good experience, a good approach to that because it gives you a lot to talk about, right? If you over coffee lose some train of thoughts, you know, in museums you have thousands of works. You can also always have a topic to talk. So it's about the social experience, and it's a question of how we can now virtualize this part. We have seen you can already find a lot of approaches how to do this kind of putting a exhibition or concert on the browser, so you can view it over the internet. But all of them seem to be they are missing the social aspect, right? Because you go there, it's a singular experience, and the part that I'm interested in is the social part. So we are experimenting now with a lot of different, let's say, approaches, models, what kind of programs to use, which are the most useful ones to use. So it's not such a hard barrier. For example, what I'm about to show, you don't need a VR headset, but you can still call it a virtual experience because, you know, in general, everything what we do on the internet is virtual. And I can switch, for example, what you see here on the picture, it's an avatar, but the gallery behind it, it's all 3D. And this is basically a 3D scan of Qibla. This is the section we call Qibla bar, and later on it's the gallery Qibla. On the left, so what this is the experience you can try right now. It's part of the KIBLIX festival, one of the pre-events. It's already open. It's a exhibition from the painter Matej Čepin called The Next Day. So what you see here are pictures, or the curation part is done the same as. So these paintings are actually standing in our gallery right now, but of course you cannot see them unless maybe we create a working contract. So that is an option also. But if we can go now through this experience, you can walk around, you can see the position, you can watch the paintings. Of course, what we are looking are not the paintings themselves. We are looking at a representation of the paintings. So hopefully the situation of the COVID will improve, so we can experience the artworks as they should. But on the other hand, this kind of virtual experiences open up a new approach to showcase digital art. Especially if you view, for example, the 3D models, or I should say, artworks that are made with digital 3D modeling tools. They stay in a digital form, and this is something that is not really like a good to see just on a flat screen, because you don't get a sense of scale, of depth of the sculpture. It is best to view it over virtual reality glasses, for example, and then on this kind of virtual gallery then also creates a background for the 3D artworks, but on the other hand, we are also not limited to the space. So we can design the space differently to give a context to artwork. So basically, the digital part opens up a lot of kind of storytelling options that maybe sometimes become stale in a gallery environment. Yes, the gallery gives you this aura that you are in this space, that gives kind of a sense of achievement if you're showcased in a gallery. But on the other hand, the artworks themselves or the experience of the artist, sometimes it's a different. So it's different context than to be just to be shown on a white wall. I don't have it. So this is a thinking approach how to do it in the future. For example, even after the quarantine, when we could say yes, okay, virtual galleries are not needed anymore, but you don't have. But there will be more and more works that are made in digital space only, and this is an approach how to view them in the proper context. This experience that I'm showing right now is available through browsers, but it can be also viewed. It can be viewed without the headset or with the VR headset, so you get a proper sense of scale of the place. The gallery itself was made with a laser scanner, and this was our approach with the gallery. And then the question opens up when we tried it at the opening. That were, of course, kind of our first stress test or user experience, and it was interesting. let's say the kind of the need to create this aura of importance of the space can be easily broken, because the avatars can be made, can be chosen by random. Of course, there is an option to create this place in a private server where we can control every other aspect, even the choice of avatars. But this is something that can be done on a public server, and so storytelling-wise, it can be very irreverent, right? So you can have random avatars and such. But we were also experimenting with creating our own avatars. So, for example, what you see on the bottom is a part of the picture, and we can click on use the avatar, so we can become the characters. This is specific. This is a specific storytelling device for this particular exhibition, and we are still gathering kind of feedback based on that. And there are many more options. Right now, I'm alone in this gallery, but you can imagine that more people can join together, and we can have interactions. We can talk. We can have a party. In this case, a kind of bring your own beer party, and we can discuss the exhibition and yeah, basically socialize. And this is something for me, at least. What's interesting is because it's different than just socializing over a chat or video. Like right now, I'm talking to you kind of face to face. We are beside each other, not beside each other, opposite, right? And this kind of interactive approach is sometimes adversarial, right? When you are talking to an enemy, you stand kind of in front of each other. But with friends, we usually sit side by side, and in a video or where we are talking, sometimes I don't really like to use video chat because of that approach. But I really like sometimes to kind of talk to people in VR where we are beside, or we can hug with controller interaction. So there's much more options for non-verbal interaction. So this is all kind of storytelling techniques, and I will now kind of finish the presentation and move back to our Q&A, which, okay. Yes, I can switch and chat. Yes, so I welcome back all the guests. Eric, Jože, Marko. Now we are open for the Q&A section, and I already have a first question, which is so because I invited you all from the different kind of parts of the industry. I have a question which is, what is the key gap between educational institution, culture institution, and kind of industry, means kind of business industry? For example, Eric, would you like to, like, what do you see kind of the key gap between those three?
Yeah, well, everybody asks themselves that. I mean, we all try to figure out what will join us together a little bit more into, let's say, projects that we would be successful and work together on, let's say, like a cultural institution, educational institution, and some company. So where are the gaps? They are everywhere. I mean, the way we think in specific domain, the way we work, the way we collaborate, our goals are different. I mean, there's a lot of gaps. But in my opinion, I would say maybe we should look over, or let's say beyond interdisciplinarity, and maybe try a little bit more transdisciplinary approach, which means we cut off the traditional boundaries and set ourselves a common goal. So it's going to be easier to synchronize and to overcome all of these gaps that are there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, sometimes it's I feel like we are a kind of stake this kind of identity. I'm in a business. I'm in art. I'm an artist, right? And we kind of made these artificial distinctions. But
well, it's not so much artificial. It's more like you have to be like that. You know, if you want to be successful businessman, you have to be successful businessman. You can't be an artist. You know, you can't achieve being successful businessman by just act like an artist. I mean, there are rare specimens like that around the world. So it's not like a mainstream. It's more about like to overcome that, to look beyond that, to try not to see yourself just what you are exactly at that point. Yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Marko, Jože, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I think this is a very good question. Maybe this gap. One idea would be good projects, or maybe, let's say, good and interesting challenges could be the gluing point between academia and business on both sides. Also, maybe technology parks and other co-working spaces like the Pattern City could also work or serve as the central and connecting element. But I think that all parties are important in order to create good solutions. So academia is important for research, and business is also important for selling this. And creativity should be the key in this. But how to make this, I don't know, but we can try together.
Marco?
Yes, from the artistic point of view, let's say, I would say there are no gaps, or there should be no gaps, as Eric also said, because everything comes from the same essence. And this is just this networking, socializing, co-working, I don't know, experience, how we could communicate with each other and share our experience on the in the better manner, let's say. So it's the same topic, it's the same knowledge, it's the same, I don't know, heritage we all go from.
I would actually. This is something that is. I just had a discussion. I think a few days ago. I was watching a presentation at the Creative Forum, and there was a discussion of how to create synergies, how to combine it, and for me, this is kind of my personal opinion. What could be the path forward is like art. Art is, I mean, of course, it has a social, not I wouldn't say social science, but more like this cultural commentary approach. But it's also an opportunity for experimentation. It is more lenient with experimentation. It promotes experimentation with new technologies because you want to test them. You want to see what they offer in terms of
expression.
Yes, or what the artists see, kind of the future, kind of extrapolating from this new technology. And this I always saw as a good opportunity for business because I mean for companies, because they can kind of collaborate with artists, not I wouldn't say exactly outsource, but they can work with artists, so they can explore the technology, even their own. If the company makes hardware, for example, or software, they can explore their because they're not bound by you know, they have this kind of out of the box approach, and they can explore their own product to maybe give them some ideas how to make it better in the future, or what kind of new features can be added. And these where kind of media labs come in, or where this collaboration can take place. And specifically, I like that because it's the kind of business government association in Slovenia. I kind of budged the English version because I haven't checked it yet. Which is creating a list, or trying to make a kind of connection between experimental places. So we also joined, I mean not joined, we kind of wrote ourselves on the list. So so the database of all these kind of experimentation places is being made. So hopefully when this data is gathered, some kind of connections and these opportunities to collaborate can be made. Does anyone has something to add?
Yeah, I would just say that, let's say, industry has a really hard time of seeing an artist as someone that's useful for them. You know, that's a traditional view from the industry. So, as you suggested, inviting an artist to some company to experiment, like an artist is used to experiment with new technologies, that would be completely out of the world, you know, out of their minds in that industry. So it still needs more trust between those three, you know, spheres or domains, and we need to find more than just practical value of that. You know, so what we discussed just before is more about like trying to find a common goal, which is not just a product, because that's always on the side of the company. So we need to find a common goal that will unite all three spheres, you know. So try to look over the boundaries. So that's why I think that sort of a transdisciplinary approach could be something that could solve that. But it's just, you know, a suggestion.
Great, great. Let me check. Questions. Okay. So that in general, that question is very interesting. I think there is a lot of talk, especially when we are what you're saying, Eric. I think it's getting better. At least there are kind of incentives being made to promote art and science, or combination between art and science, but also because of that the business comes also in. For example, one example I saw, which is interesting for me, like in terms of marketing, there is a lot of artists who make high production, right? So they make this wow effect if they make a video for YouTube, right? It kind of becomes viral, and this is not specific to XR example, but I really liked one music video where they used robot hands, so like these big industrial robot arms, where they moved TV screens, or they played on guitars to basically to program them to create music, or to move TV screens to give the effect of parallax, like it made just really cool visual effect. And I thought of it as a kind of amazing collaboration between, you know, the hardware manufacturer, but also I think the side effect or the side product of that was software control, because it was not just like artists controlling and making this visual aspect, but they actually collaborated with a programmer to create a user intuitive, so a better user experience for the control of the robot, this kind of user interface. And I thought that was a kind of a cool example of a collaboration between the artists who has the motivation to create tools and manage them, so he can create a good visual art piece, for example. Yeah, so I think we will move to the other question, which is, so we are all dealing with design challenges, right? I think we all found a kind of common niche where from the academia researchers. So, for example, Jože, you said that content is now the biggest kind of gap for XR. Kind of the technology went forward, but content remains kind of this. It always was from the beginning this driving or a pulling force why people would buy, at least consumer market would buy the headset. And I agree with you. I also see it like it's a niche, specifically useful for business to business, or for business processes. So that's what you're doing, Eric, where you, and of course, Georgia, like you said, with the digital twin from Novartis, Lake Novartis, where you create tools for businesses that basically saves money, because when you virtualize training sessions or onboarding, you can save on material
Exactly.
and things like that. And for the culture or tourism sector, you can create kind of teaser, so you can give people the story before they come to the place. Basically, you kind of use kind of the story in digital XR space, so you can showcase it anywhere, and use it as a teaser for people to come. Because there was but first I will go. So we have a common issue, right? Which is, because it's a new medium, it has different kind of laws of how to. It's a different interaction style. And do you see so do you see similar design challenges when creating content for XR? And is there, in your opinion, untapped potential storytelling-wise? And I will start with Marco on this one. So do you find, like, where can we go forward, right? What is kind of the next step in terms of storytelling for XR?
So now we are talking about the technology. XR, let's say, you all said it's VR, AR, MR, three kinds of interfaces that can help us tell stories. But of course, it's a lot more. I think it's just the beginning of the evolution for this new era. So is it holodeck, or is it matrix, as you also said at the end of the presentation? That's now my concern. And I think in this field, we can start thinking not only what's happening right now with the technology on the market. So I think the bondage between all of us with this network and potential that Industry 4.0 brings, and at the other side, all the avant-garde artists had vision what will happen. This is happening right now with, let's say, the crisis, but the crisis is the opportunity. So the story that we are telling right now is this, I think, is the evolution of all of us into the higher level of interaction. What this will be, nothing more than it was maybe in some shamanic processes, let's say rituals. It's just exchanging thoughts to build a better world, if this is not too much to say, for the better humanity. This is now our mission. This is the story we are slowly bringing into the life, let's say. But of course, this will happen through little stories where all are being told how, as I said before, how you come from part A to part B. But this is the symbol for evolution, the symbol to come deeper, to come higher.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It reminds me of futurologist Alexander Bard, who is working a lot. So it's kind of a cyber. So he's focused a lot on cyber philosophy, and he was talking that because the internet is there and kind of fundamentally changed how we communicate with each other. We should go away with individualism and focus on the relationship, not relationships, but kind of relations with us. And he, in one of the TED Talks, he specifically kind of made a call to action to create, to kind of design mediums, create machines that will help us love the strangers, right? Because this is something I feel that we are still kind of going the wrong way, because we have human incentives, right? We kind of search for shortcuts or attention, and right now our medium or social media is connected a lot with, I mean, because of the market incentives, it promotes seeking attention, and drama is the best, or kind of finding differences between each other is the best kind of way to get attention. But for me, this is the wrong way, right? We should strive to design experiences where we promote kind of building trust, building good connections, not focusing on the negatives. And this is where I see VR social spaces going forward. What do you think? Maybe we go to Jože.
Yes, I agree. I think the XR technologies with augmented reality on one side and virtual reality on the other are basically a new medium which provides new ways of expression and storytelling, which is important. But also social, let's say, interactions are becoming more and more important. What makes this medium especially interesting is that compared to traditional like 2D screens, which are in a third person, XR technologies provide a first person experience. So in this way, what the users can see and feel and maybe touch in the near future is a way more personal, and the whole experience is much more powerful. And social interactions can in a way also provide benefits, but also there are some drawbacks here, because these technologies, I think, may not, let's say, replace real world and real life experiences. This is a challenge which we should be aware of. But then again, it can help us, like you mentioned, education. We can experience places and, I don't know, experiences which are not possible in the real environment. For example, we can explore the Mars, or travel inside the body, or for the industry, industrial applications and simulations can really save lives or reduce costs. And on the other hand, like we're using this in a way primitive way of distance communication, maybe XR or VR experiences would provide a better alternative to distance communications. So this can be used in a way, I think. And yes, as you said, social interactions are important, but they should not replace real life interactions.
Mm-hmm. But I guess there's a lot of business benefits. So I'm going to you, Eric. Like, for example, it cannot replace, but sometimes it can save a lot of money.
Yeah. It's actually this year everybody is realizing that it can help, and everybody is actually also realizing that it gives us a lot more of interactions. That's one thing that I'm noticing. So today I'm here, 7:20 p.m. I'm discussing this with you. After that, I have one more conference, and before that, I had two. So, and tomorrow I'm gonna have three. So when in between there's time to actually do something. Well, a little bit, exaggerating, but still, so it can help to give us, to bring us closer. to make us available to actually discuss something, to do business. But on the other hand, it takes away our time. And we will have to, deal with this in the next year, maybe. So this is the task for our society for next year, to find boundaries between socializing, let's say, and working together on a distance, but then still have our private life. But what I wanted to actually say also to stuff said before, this is just a technology. As it was mentioned, it's just interfaces. So it's nothing else. So still someone needs to tell a story. Still someone needs to, operate these tools that are made within that space. So why we feel that, or maybe why this XR technology is not so mainstream yet, is actually because it's so awkward still, it's heavy, big, expensive, and so on. And as soon as we overcome that transition, when this technology will be actually not noticeable anymore, then it's gonna have a really big impact. It's gonna be actually like living in different dimensions or something like that. So you will be just able to, just jump there and call for yourself a different environment when you feel comfortable. If you are, let's say, scared, call yourself an environment when you need to push yourself to actually do some, let's say, physical work, and so this is going to become more instant and more immersive. So if I come back to what I said at the beginning, yes, it's very important how we design these kind of experiences and how we tell stories.
Mm-hmm. This is actually kind of a segue to another question from the public, which had more to do with the troubles of adopting VR. So how can we integrate the technology into the general population? Because many people still use mobile computers, so they are not used to VR. And I agree, because it's kind of very hard to talk about the benefits of VR. People have to try it, and maybe for a longer time. It's also when they find a function that it fulfills their need. So what do you think would be the best approach to spread the use of new technology in general population, and maybe some creative ideas perhaps regarding this topic? I have a feeling that we kind of have answered this, but maybe someone else has something specifically to add to this. So, for example, so the best approach to spread the use of new technology in general population.
I can say that Oculus is actually doing a real good work. So 2 years ago, or I don't know how many years ago, they bought Oculus, Facebook did, yes. And few years after, their goal is to bring 1 billion people into VR. And how they are doing it? They're making it more simple, more affordable. The prices are actually split in half in a year. And it's much more handy. So hand tracking, let's say. So let's drop the controllers and let's just use our hands. So it's very more. This is actually what it's going to bring. More immersiveness, cheaper and easier to use, and not being so awkward.
Mm-hmm.
If I may add,
exactly.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Okay, that was exactly my idea. That's why I took both Oculus Quest 1, Oculus Quest 2 with me for today's purpose, because that's exactly the technology that was spread between the people. For the 350 euros, you get, the best price performance gadget in the world. And with the ability to pass through, which is another feature that will enlighten how people will integrate with this technology. So you can wear a headset, but you can at the same time see through, integrate with the real life. That's why I think that's the bright future through the networking like Facebook is, addressing everyone, even with the personal account, because now, from now on, you have to be attached with the personal account to the headset, which means, which opens another question: who are we? Are we these bodies, or are we these avatars that social networks are building for us? And this embodiment question is another political, industry, cultural, and of course artistic, let's say, challenge for all of us.
This reminds me of the movie Ghost in the Shell, right? There's also a theory that we are not how we perceive ourselves. Not just, it doesn't come just from the mind, but it actually affects of what kind of it's based on our body, right? How we perceive ourselves visually, how we walk, what clothes do we use. So I can totally imagine that. So, for example, if you would use an avatar and maybe watch yourself over screen, it affects your even a sense of self in VR. But it does have maybe a better approach, because you do use the body movement, right? And this is kind of a continuation for you, Jože. Maybe have you found in your research that like how people perceive yourselves like as an avatars? And we also had a kind of also similar question from the public. Do you think this kind of representation with an avatar can bring a gender balance or a stronger cultural diversity? So maybe you can try go with that question.
Okay, I agree. One of the, let's say, strongest points of XR is the fact that these technologies are really personal and that they're experienced in the first person. So therefore, the being there and the presence and also the flow aspects can be really, really powerful within, especially VR experiences. And thus, also, let's say, this tech can be used for medical purposes, maybe for healing some phobias, but also for making stronger empathic connections, or to provide empathy. And in this way, you can experience how it is if someone is maybe physically disabled, and you can actually personally experience this, and thus you can maybe be more emphatic towards this and provide better solutions. For example, if you're, I don't know, a construction engineer, you can feel and try what are the problems of if you're bound to a chair. In this way, this tech can maybe help in the question you asked.
Yeah. That also reminds me of the early experiments. Actually, that's the story how Palmer Luckey even created the first Oculus headset.
Yes.
Because he was working with immersive. Yeah, he was working with immersive journalist Nona de la Peña, and it was specifically on topic of kind of empathic journalism, right? To put the person in the middle of the event or happening. And to do that, you need to have stereo vision. You need to have this presence. You need to have like body feeling that you are in that space to promote empathy. Of course, this can to the question of kind of to a stronger cultural diversity. I would say it promotes trust. So because it builds empathy, or at least you are put in the situations. It can be also done with just a 360 video, but because you are in the middle of this situation, you have a much more visceral body experience, and I would like to close up our Q&A section. We just kind of last comment, because I think we had a really good discussion of we went deeper and deeper, and we kind of ended up with the kind of main purpose, or at least one of the main benefits of virtual, but also later on more with mixed reality, because next year hopefully there will be more products on the market for consumer market that combine. So instead of virtual reality that completely simulates the digital world, these new headsets which look like sunglasses. So also Apple announced their own version of AR glasses. So it's kind of the same approach that I'm talking about, which will combine a real space, so what we see with our own eyes, with a digital layer. So basically what we have right now, like augmented reality on the phone, but instead it's kind of screenless, but we have glasses, and we have a digital layer directly with stereo vision. So basically what mixed reality is right now with glasses like HoloLens or Magic Leap, I think, but with a much more straightforward approach. Thank you a lot to all of you. Thank you a lot, Jože. Thank you a lot, Eric and Marco. So this was our panel. We hope that we at least answer a little bit on how we can overcome this kind of close up of businesses and events that we are experiencing right now. We give some inspiration to the public so they can look in the future with more optimism, because problems are here, but problems are here to be solved. Thank you a lot to everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Giga, and thank you to all of our guests. Thank you to our audience who has been with us tonight. For more program of KIBLIX 2020, which will unfold through the following weeks, follow us on kiblix.org and our social media. Goodbye and take care.